I've got a challenge this morning. The challenge is, can I drill a hole in one of the forks on Nate's Bobcat? Now, drilling a hole in steel is usually not a big deal at all, except forks, which are on material handling machinery, are high carbon steel. They are strong, they are tough, they are heat treated to where they will take that repeated load and not bend and not break, which also means they're not going to want to drill. So let's just see if my radial drill, my drill press, and the bits that I have, however sharp they might be, are going to be able to drill a hole, an 1.1/8" diameter hole, by the way, through steel that is going to resist and maybe make impossible drilling a hole. Wish me luck. So I don't know what carbon steel forks are made of generally, and probably they're not all exactly the same. But the thing that forks on equipment have in common is usually they're having hydraulic pressures, hydraulic forces and loads applied to lift really heavy things and to pry things and to hold things and to twist things. And so they have to stand the repeated stress and be springy enough to not deflect and be springy enough to not break and be hard enough to do it, to do the work. And that means at the end of that fork, which Nate needs to be able to receive a ball so that he can get a hold of a hitch on a little piece of equipment or a trailer and move it around with his Bobcat, I've got to be able to drill a pretty big hole right there. 2 inches centered from the end, from the sides. The material's about 1/2 inch thick, maybe 9/16. And we're going to see if this little 3/16 DeWalt bit will push through there. And if it will, then probably we can progressively drill a bigger and bigger hole. I don't like taking 1 1/4" or 1 1/8" in one pass. It just seems unreasonable. Lock everything in position. 3/16 bit, we're going to turn pretty fast. We're going to turn at about 550 RPMs. I don't know what it really should be. I just know what I'm going to try. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. That, my friends, was a pleasant surprise. That bit flew through there like it was a piece of mild steel. I don't understand it, but I'm going to just press forward and see if we can just progressively go from 3/16 maybe to 1/2 inch, and I'll probably go from 1/2 inch to 1 1/8" in one pass. Fingers crossed, but optimism brimming. 1/2 inch bit, not terribly sharp, but I'm going to slow the speed down to 305. Those of you who are machinists, in the comments, would you have something to say, please, about drill speeds and sharpness and feed rates? Because I'm just hip shooting all the time, and most of us are hip shooting all the time. So those of you who have real knowledge, throw it out there, because we read the comments and we learn from them. So let's see how 1/2 inch does at 300 RPM. Now I've got a Jacob's chuck in here. This thing will also take a Morris taper. Drill bit, I've got the adapters and all of that, but I'm not doing that. I'm just leaving the Jacob's chuck in, and I'm going to use this little old bit that my dad and I have had for years. It's 1 1/8". The edges are pretty good, the points are pretty good. Hopefully I can push it through. Well, that squalling is nerve-wracking. I've got lots of oil in there. I'm going to put a little hand pressure on it, see what it feels like, but we are almost through. Probably should have used the Morris taper bit. Lots of friction on that little shaft. Run a 3/4 inch through there, and then see if we can push this on through the rest of the way. And that, my friends, is an appalling display of someone diving into something they really don't know much about, but have managed to survive anyway. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up what passes for good work. So this is not going to be a very appropriate squeeze, but all it's got to do is hold the end of a hitch on the occasional trailer or man lift at speeds of less than 1 mile an hour, and so it's going to be just fine.